It's Noel.
Subscribe now.
Your beauty industry coach. Let's go. Preparation is key. Make sure you have all of your tools before we get started because we are about to eat this up. Let's go. Hey, what's up? It is your girl, Noel. I'm back here with you guys. Another video. And today I'm going to be doing the invisible part quick weave. Thank you guys for all the likes, the shares, the comments. I'm going to keep these videos coming to you because guess what? I enjoy doing them. Not only that, I am truly an educator by heart. I'm a master cosmetologist, but I'm also a licensed master cosmetology instructor. And I love giving you guys value, things that you can... Okay, so you guys know exactly what it is, what I'm doing. I actually am doing an invisible part quick weave. And the very first thing I wanted to do is make sure that I put my protective shield on my edges, as well as it's going to go onto my stocking cap. But I want to talk to you about the importance of protecting your hair because we know that this front hairline is your most fragile part of the hair, which means it breaks extremely easy and it causes traction alopecia. What is traction alopecia? It is excessive pulling of the hair. So as you guys can see, I do have some thinning right here. This side is a lot thicker, but that's something that I've been working on. So before I ever do any of these videos, I give my hair a deep conditioning treatment, and I'm going to give you guys a video of that. I have a head full of hair, I just never wear it. That's another time because I'm going to actually start embracing that this year, but I want to stay on topic about this invisible part quick weave. So as you guys can see, I'm going to actually have a part right here in my short pixie cut. But the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to outline that part. I want to make sure that that part is prominent at the end. So the key to making sure that you can actually see your part, you're going to have to take your protective shield and I'm actually molding my hair down that's around it, as you guys can see that. I did that way it kind of separates that hair and it's going to allow me to have my part at the end so I'm not having to fight because I'm going to have to cut this. So stay tuned. Make sure you watch the video all the way through. Also, get your pen and piece of paper and take you some notes so you don't have to watch the video all the way back through, even though I love you to watch it. But take you some notes whenever you're actually doing anything so you can make sure that you're going back over it. Not only that, we're on our phones too much anyway. Let's get back to writing things down, making our brains work, making sure we can spell and everything is not auto-corrected. All right, let's go. All right, let's get right into it. We are going to go ahead and apply our stocking cap. Make sure that your stocking cap, you can actually see through it because we're going to need to see where we need to place our protective shield for our invisible part. I'm highlighting out my invisible part with my protective shield because at the end, if I apply that protective shield on it, it can make it more difficult when it comes down to cutting out the parted area that I want to actually be shown. I'm going to apply the protective shield over the entire cap, making sure I'm covering those edges in its entirety. We don't want any traction alopecia. Blow dry this hair. Make sure that you blow dry your stocking cap and the hair because it is key. All right, so now that we're molding down, everything is completely dry, right? And I have this marker right here to mark out again my part. However, when I put the protective shield, it kind of shifted, but the cap is thin enough that you can still see the part. So just want to make sure I go ahead and let you guys know that. And it's still going to turn out dynamic. But the next thing we're going to do is I want to talk to you guys about the hair that I'm going to be using. This is the 27 piece. We all know what the 27 pieces is. And if you don't, the 27 piece is hair that comes as 27 pieces, short, medium, long hair. This is your short, this is your medium, and this is your long. These three pieces, as you can see, that look real wiggy. And if you put these in your hair looking just like this, we do wigs, but we don't do wiggy. We don't do wiggy. So there's a method to the madness to make it not look so wiggy. I know you see people that have quick wigs. You just know that it is a quick wig because it looks wiggy. We don't do wiggy around here. We're going to make sure that we don't do wiggy. And I'm going to show you what it takes to make sure we eliminate the wiggy. All right? Girl, you and that wig ain't getting along. So again, this is your 27 piece, and these are your shorter pieces. You never want to put the hair in where it looks like this. Now, what is your wiggy eliminator? Your flat iron. Your flat iron is the wiggy look eliminator. Before you ever apply your 27 piece, I don't care if you're doing a short style, you're doing a mohawk, whatever you're doing where you're utilizing 27 pieces, unless you want the wiggy and you're looking for, you're doing the elderly lady, someone that's more mature and like those type of styles, then of course, put it in their hair the way that it is. But if you want to prevent it from looking like Miss Gertrude, the first thing you want to do is use your flat iron. Your flat iron, literally all you're going to do is just go through that hair and leave them bunched up just like that. Make sure your flat iron can get hot enough. But all I'm doing is I'm straightening it out. I'm straightening it out because I want this hair to do what I want it to do. And I know that I want it to lay straight. A lot of times some people will go back in and cut it down. But if you cut it down, you can still sometimes kind of see those little bumps, those little waves that's in it. So we don't even have to do that to save us some time. Before we even start applying it, preparation is key. Make sure you go ahead and flat iron that hair straight. You see what that looks like already? And that, you see how that looks? That's the look we're going through. We're going to do this in all 3 bundles of our 27 piece. You want to make sure that it gets as straight as possible, because that way, when you lay your hair in, all you have to do at the end is use that razor and cut it down. And yes, God, it gives you exactly what you're looking for. All right? We ain't doing wigging in 2023. Too many techniques. We too knowledgeable. I'm just gonna say have too much tools, too much information out here to be walking around with these wigs. We're not doing that. Also, to my stylists, make sure before you do any service on your client that you are doing a thorough client consultation. You got to start communicating more with your clients. One of the problems is sometimes clients think they know what they want. They describe it. They'll have a picture, but at the end of the day, sometimes they really don't know. They're like, you know what I'm trying to say? Thorough client consultation, to make sure that you're doing reflective listening. What is reflective listening? Well, the client tells you what it is that they want. You repeat back what they said they want, and now you guys are on the same page. You reflected what they just said. So you said you want to part on the right side, turn them around to the mirror also. You want to part on the right side, you want to do this deep enough, and part the hair so that they can see. That way that holds both of you guys accountable, and there's no surprises when you turn your client back around to the mirror. I can't stress that enough. Thorough client consultation. Make sure that you have a clear understanding of what the client wants, because they have a desired result that they are looking for, and we have a desired result that we're wanting in return. So give that value by giving them a thorough client consultation. Communicate more effectively with your clients, because as you know, yes, the prices have increased. We also want to increase our value and make sure we're making our clients happy. Just had to give you that little tip. Start communicating effectively with your client. Don't let the client just come in and you just start going, haven't asked anything. And with these shortcuts, I gotta say this, with the short haircut, remember, you got people that have face that's super, super heavy down here and they want short hair. You got individuals that may have a concave, convex facial shape, whatever it may be. You need to make sure that you're having that conversation, because at the end of the day, the shortcut can look great on them, but it's going to have to fit the face, the shape of their face. You understand? They can want it exactly like you have on. I could take my wig off and put it on their head, and it still wouldn't look right. Even though they say, I want it just like yours, I can take mine off and put it on their head, and they still won't be satisfied because it's fit for my facial shape. It's fit for my head. Make sure that you're catering these styles, and even if they want a specific style, the ultimate goal is to make sure that it looks great on their facial shape and on them, that it's complementing. All right, let's get to it. I'm going to be utilizing my medium in the back, closer to the bottom of the nape of my hair, because when I'm working out, start sweating, it starts to shift. Guess what? I do not want it to move up so far. And you know, there's different techniques that you can use. You can braid your hair down, you can sew it. In this case, I didn't do that. I used a stocking cap in my protective shield, but I'm going to use a little bit longer so that when over time the adhesive starts to release from the cap, I still have coverage. Okay, so I'm going to be utilizing my shorter pieces, my medium piece, starting in the back. All right, let's get right into it. So we are utilizing the medium lengths of the 27 piece, and we're starting right here at the bottom of the nape area. We utilize those medium lengths because whenever that glue starts releasing, we want to make sure that you can never see our hair or the cap. We want to make sure that there is always coverage at all times. When you apply your adhesive onto your wefts, make sure you apply enough, but don't oversaturate it, because we know that adhesive has a tendency to spread and it'll get all in the hair. And when it's in the hair, it can come out by combing it, but we don't want to. If we can avoid it, we want to avoid it as much as possible. Notice how I actually do like a smile technique when I'm applying my tracks in the back, and that's because I want to make sure that I'm covering my sides, because I know straight across left to right can sometimes cause it to show still on the side. So make sure that you do somewhat of a curve. You see how I'm kind of going on the sides like so. So this is what you should look like in the front, and I laid those tracks really, really close together. because whenever you're razoring your hair, you want to make sure that you don't see any gaps. You don't want to see where you put a gap in there. But I laid them very close together, stacked like directly on top of each other. We're not doing wiggy. We're not. You see how that's going to look? And we're going to razor this down to look as natural as possible. All right, so now we're going to do our sideburns. When we're doing our sideburns, we want to use the longer pieces. You can see how I drag the protective shield all the way down to the end because I want to make sure that I don't get it on my skin, and I want to make sure that I can actually protect my hair that's right there. So you're utilizing the longer pieces because you want to make sure that you have some hair to play with. So you're going to look like Elvis Presley a little bit in the beginning, but that's all right. We're going to get it together at the end. So what I do is you want to stack these on top of each other. I'm literally going to measure it left to right, like so. And then I'm going to cut out 4 to 5 pieces. And I do 4 to 5 pieces because when I start razoring that side, I want to make sure that I have enough hair that I don't leave a gap. So I'm going to say do 5. And they're going to be they're the same size, directly on top of each other. And I'm going to do this exact same thing for both sides. As you can see, it's 5 of them. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and place our adhesive onto our 5 stacked pieces of tracks, and we're going to place them right strategically on the side. Make sure that you press them down. Utilize your blow dryer to lock them in place. So now that we have both sides done, this is exactly how it should look. All right, so now we're going to start moving from left to right, and I'm utilizing my shorter pieces. And I pull it kind of tight because you see this right here, when I'm pulling it tight, that allows that because it's soft. As long as it's soft, then you can always manipulate it when you're applying your adhesive. But if it's hard, if you have a braid, it's hard to, and that's why sometimes you still see lumps in individuals' head. Make sure that it's actually pliable because see, when it's soft like that, I'm going to be able to push that down. So left to right, putting it right here, like right at the top of your ears. And I'm going to be repeating this all the way up to about right here in my parietal ridge. Okay, let's go. All right, and as you can see, we are now applying our tracks from left to right, temple to temple, and we're making sure that we are applying enough adhesive to the tracks because, like I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that that hair in the back is not going to be lumpy. So when I'm applying this track on, I'm pushing that hair down in the back and applying enough pressure and pulling it down to make sure that there are no lumps. All right, our next step, we're going to start utilizing our longer pieces of the 27 piece. And I'm going to start, as you can see, I stopped right here at the parietal ridge. Now I'm going to change the direction of my placement because I know exactly how I want my hair to lay when I'm done with my style. So as you can see how it looks here in the back, right? So now I'm going to start doing more of a smile, horseshoe type placement because at the end of the day, I know how I want this to look and I want to be able to comb it in a specific direction. So I'm now going to start going in this area only, not bringing it around here to my temples, but focusing on this area right here, keeping this portion right here that's thick, still keeping that down, okay? All right, so like I said, we're just placing this right here at the top of the crown, making sure still that we keep everything close together and we're pulling it tight to make sure that we are getting rid of any lumps that could have taken place based on whatever type foundation you use. In this particular foundation, I utilize a ponytail, so I'm keeping it down. All right, so now that I have this up to here, now we want to focus on this portion of this back part right here only. And all I'm going to be doing is literally going left to right, left to right, left to right, right to left, however. I'm going to be placing hair right here in this area only. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to make sure that I've got all of my back part out of the way before I start working on everything that I'm going to have going on up here in the front. So I'm just going to be going left to right, right here in this region, this area of my head on the right here, the top of the crown. All right, let's get to it. So I decided to get some of my 10-inch hair that I had left over for this top area because I had an epiphany all of a sudden with doing this hair. So I'm going to be doing the exact same thing. You can keep using your 27 piece if you would like, but the look that I'm going to go with in the top, I think I might want to play with it and still have a little bit more height here in the top. So I had some 10-inch hair. So if you decide you want to get it exactly like mine, then make sure you get your pack of 8-inch Milky Way straight yaki hair so that you can do it exactly. Because I just had that little epiphany moment. You know how you can be working on your hair and all of a sudden it's just like, you know what, I may want to add a little pop of color. And that's what we do as creators. You have a little moment and the next thing you know, it's like, I think I want to add that. So I just had one of those moments. So all I'm doing the same exact technique, left to right, but it'll give me that versatility that I think that I want to go for right here in the top. And I'm just going to put it right here in this little top part. That way when I do my little spiking up, I'll have a little bit more length and texture, because the texture of this hair is completely different than the 27 piece. So it has the ability, both will stand, but I know what I'm going for, if that makes sense. All right. Okay, so this is what we should be looking like. Here we go. So as you can see, right here in the top, this is exactly what it should look like. That's going to help us get the desired look that I'm going for, which is, again, I'm doing a short Pixie invisible part quick weave. So you can still kind of see that part right there. So now let's get to the juicy part. Okay, so now the strategy starts to change. I'm going to work on this side and then this side. So what I'm going to be doing is literally laying my wefts in a slight C shape because I want to be able to brush it to the side or pull it to the front. So if I have it in a C shape, think about it. I have it in a C, that means I can comb it this way and I can also rake it back. You get what I'm saying? So that means that if it's C, it naturally will fall this way, but I can also do it out of my face. So it's not going to be a hard C, it's just going to be like a slight C. And I'm going to do that all the way till I get right here. Making C's, measuring it, and I'm using my medium size leftovers. So I'm going to be coming from right here. From right here to here. And I'm going to do that all the way to about right here. Let's get to it. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start placing our tracks in a curved position. We want our hair to naturally fall to the left side and hair remain in the back. You make hair do exactly what you want it to do. So if I want the hair to lay to the side and fall naturally, I'm going to make sure that I'm placing my tracks in that direction, not overcomplicating it. This allows manipulation for our style at the end. But make sure that you place the hair in the direction that you want it to go. All right, you see how this is looking? Now I'm going to keep applying it. Now, when it comes down to doing your quick weave, make sure you don't throw your excess hair away. Every stylist, every individual that's doing hair should have a hair bag. A hair bag for hard times. You just never know when you're going to need some extra hair when you run out. So keep your hair bag on hand. Also, make sure that you are taking your time when you're doing your hair. I'm going to always keep reiterating that. A lot of times, honest mistakes come from laziness, not taking your time, and a lot of times, you know how you can get your hair done right and you love it, but it's almost like she didn't do it the same the last time. You should never feel comfortable, especially being a stylist, like you definitely, we master styles, but every time a client get in your chair, make sure you give them the ultimate client experience. What do I mean? Don't rush. Now, unless they say, hurry up, I got somewhere to be, then you say, all right. So, I'm going to definitely make sure that I'm being as neat and as precise as possible, but I'm going to tell you this right now. You don't want me to rush, because rush to me means just that. Rush and hurry up and get you out of my chair. However, as you guys can see what I'm doing, closing this up, but keep doing it to right here, because I know that my part is right here. But keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, and I'm going to stop about right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and come back so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. I hope you've been taking notes. All right, so this is where you should be. This is exactly how it should look. And we're about to get started working on this middle part. All right, and here we go. All right, make sure you go ahead and cut that cap. Cut that cap off. It gives you a sense of release instantly. Oh my God. Make sure you cut that cap first, because before we start cutting on the cap and doing our invisible part preparation, we want to make sure that we've cut that cap from surrounding our face, get it off of our ears, and now we're going to go right into cutting out our invisible part. Now, there's a trick to this. As you can see, I've placed a comb here and I'm utilizing the eyebrow shaper because I want to make sure that I can be strategic when it comes to cutting it, and I don't want to cut it too wide with the scissors. Also, I'm doing it on myself, but if I had a client in the chair, I would definitely be able to see and have my lighting there. But being that I'm making this video, I got to be very strategic. So if you're doing it on yourself, this is an easy way to do it. Taking that comb, and what I'm doing is the comb is laying on the stocking cap, and I'm able to just scrape across it with that brow shaper to make sure that I can get it right where I need it to be. So as you can see, you can still see some of that cap that's visible, and that's just the product from the protective shield. Don't worry about that. The main thing is I want to be able to see that part. It looks wide here, but that's okay because we can manipulate that. So now what I'm going to be doing, and that's the white stuff from the protective shield, so that's perfectly fine. We need as much protection as we can get. What I'm going to be doing is actually measuring very from here. My lighting isn't the best, but from here to here. Left, right, left, up to the weft. And when I'm placing them, I'm curving them slightly, and I mean slightly. You see that? How I just bent that? Just a little bit when I start doing my placement. But I'm going to cut about 3 at a time, the same way I did my sideburns. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to be doing them individual, because I want to make sure that I cover every weft right here. You should never be able to see those wefts. You should not be able to see them. They need to be covered up. So make sure, again, take your time. But what I'm doing, I'm cutting 3 little small pieces that when I'm placing them, I slightly curve. Okay, my battery is going low, but we're going to work right through this. I'm going to go ahead and start mine, and I'm putting these 3 pieces really close together. And I hope you guys can see this. Don't worry about getting no glue on your part at all. And I slightly bending it more so on this side and not so much on this side. And the side that's closer to the part, I'm not really bending it a lot, because if I make too much of a curve, it'll close out, it'll close that part completely up, and this is going to be closed up tighter anyway. It's not going to look like a finger can fit. So like so. And I'm about to do that all the way up on this side. All right, so I've closed it up. You should see how it's starting to look. You see that? This is how it should be. This is how it should look. So don't think you're doing nothing wrong. We're going to close that up. The ultimate thing with the invisible part, yes, you want to see some of the part, but it's to give the illusion that their part is there. And it should never be this wide. I know sometimes you see invisible parts and they are extremely thick. It should be toothpick fine. If not toothpick fine, it should be pin comb. The comb that has actual pin on the end. The wire comb. The wire rat tail comb. That's what should be able to fit in there when we're done. It should never be super wide. So what I'm going to do now is start measuring As you can still see, I kind of made it curved because I'm going to close it up down here. So I still have some to do over here, but let me see if you can actually see. What I'm going to start doing now is measuring this area. Left to right. Get that out there. Right. Same thing. I'm going to close this up, going back. All right, let's get right into this invisible part. As you can see, I've cut out my multiple little small pieces, and I will not be stacking them on top of each other today. I'm going to still continue to place them individually on top of each other, but when you're placing them, you want to make sure that you do not oversaturate them with glue, because too much glue can cause premature problems and problems that really should not exist, because if that glue gets into that part at the end, it can kind of hurt when you're starting to utilize the end of your comb to remove anything that's in that part so that you can actually see the part. So be very strategic with your placement. Take your time. Use a little bit of protective shield if you need to prevent it from getting directly on your skin. I know that I do have somewhat of some right there, but you want to make sure that you're still protecting your hair, protecting your edges. Again, I am placing the adhesive on these pieces individual, and I'm still curving them slightly. That curve is the key to make sure that I'm still hiding those tracks. You never want to be able to see those tracks. Sometimes I know you see an invisible part and it's not so attractive and it's extremely wide, but this is how your process should be looking. As you can see, it appears to be closed up, but it will not be closed. And I'm moving my way right up to getting to the part where my closure will be. All right, so this is what we're looking like. You see this hole right here? That's where I'm going to put my closure. You see how close that, you see how that looks? That's how it should look. Now, if you need a more detailed video on this invisible part, then I'm going to make sure I do that. Make sure you guys are subscribing. Make sure you like it. Make sure you share these videos. If you learned something, please let me know. But again, as you can see, you see the direction in which this is headed. Ooh, just wait till we're done. So this is where my closure is going to go. So now let's work on one of the most important parts, which is closing it up. And I'm still going to be utilizing my longer piece of my quick weave. And all I'm going to do is I've cut maybe about 2.5 inches, 3 inches. And I'm going to put my adhesive on there. And I'm not putting a whole lot, because if I put too much, then that means it's going to seep through. You got to remember, these 27-piece wefts, they're super thin. They are very, very thin. They're not like your thicker wefts when you actually are utilizing your 8 and your 10-inch hair. These are very thin. So you got to be careful when you're applying your adhesive on there. So what I'm doing, I'm literally just going to roll it up. And I'm rolling it small. That way it can fit. That way it can fit right in. Once I do that, I'm going to use my flat iron, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. And this is what it should look like. Just like that. Now I'm going to fan it out like so. I'm going to comb it out, right? Now the key to doing this particular closure, I'm going to use my flat iron, but I want you to notice something here. Is I am not fanning it all the way out so that it's going to be hair around the whole entire thing, like so. Not at all. I want it to be one side. What do I mean one side? No hair on that side. I just want it to be a one side closure. I want the hair to fall only on one direction. And the reason being is because it's a closure and I want it to go backwards so that it's not covering up my part. I don't want any hair on my part. So I'm just going to kind of cut that hair off right there. So when I'm putting it in there, that hair is going backwards. You see that? It's going to go fit right in there like so. And that hair is going backwards versus hair going in a circle, because hair will be covering that up. So once I put my adhesive on there, it's going to look just like so. So this is how it should look. One side should have no hair at all. And I'm always manipulating that to make it look as flat as possible and as natural as possible. All right. Put a little adhesive on there and we're good to go. We're gonna get into our cut. Now, as you can see, I have a very, very small, invisible part. Using my comb to kind of pick that through. Now, when it starts to lift, all you have to do is take your glue, put it on the end of your comb, and literally just lift it up and put it on there. Put a little protective shield on there first, just to protect your hair. And you should never allow, hear me when I say this, never allow your invisible part to get so wide it look like you just parting the Red Sea. I have seen it, and hair grows a half of an inch a month. Let me say that again, a half an inch a month. That's about that much, and that's really a healthy hair growth. First of all, you shouldn't be keeping a quick weave in for a month. Sometimes I do know individuals keep them in for a long time, but if you're going to keep them in and truly, you know, I'm just going to say be disrespectful to your hair in a sense, make sure that it don't look like you've had it in there for a whole month, because once that half an inch start taking place, you start seeing the Red Sea part, and it's just not a good look. Take the time to make sure that you're not walking around with that just open like that. No, we're not doing that in 2023. We don't have to do that. We have too much glue, too much gas to be, too many things that we can do that just can keep us going in the right direction, okay? So make sure that you are not allowing your hair to do that. But again, as you guys can see, here you have it. You can still see that part. I'm gonna put my comb in there, but it should not be any wider than that. And at the end, I'm gonna take my flat iron to go in there and kind of seal that in. But let's get into this cut. Very basic cut. I'm just gonna be razor cutting it all around and giving you my little finished touches. Let's go. All right, now let's move right into cutting. Cutting is essential when it comes down to us doing a short, invisible part quick weave. Now, as you can remember, I placed my tracks really, really close together, and all I'm doing is using the larger side of the razor comb, and I'm just removing the bulk of the hair. Being that they're so close, I can shave it down and cut it down, and guess what? It doesn't matter. You're not going to see a gap, and I'm removing just the bulky amount of the hair. I also want you to pay attention to how I'm holding the razor comb. I'm holding it close to the teeth. When I'm holding it close to the teeth with more fingers, that gives me more control, that takes off more bulk. But when I place my fingers, right, as you can see, the less fingers you use, the lighter your touch is. So when I'm doing my sideburns, I want to make sure that I'm using less fingers and closer to the end of it, because that allows me not to put as much pressure and I remove less hair. But if I'm holding it with more fingers, then that allows me to have a firmer grip and more control. But whenever I'm around the front of my face, I don't want to just go in there and hit it and make a mistake, and next thing you know, I have removed way too much hair. So as you can see, I'm using those 2 fingers and I'm just playing with my sideburns, because I want to make sure that I'm taking off a little bit amount of hair. I don't want to use too much strength, because I don't want to do something prematurely and regret it at the end, even though I can always go back in and put hair. So how we hold that razor comb is key. As you can see, I'm using those 2 fingers. That gives me less pressure to apply, and I want to just take it off gradually. So all of your tools have a purpose. As you can see, this haircut is coming together. As you can see, remember I said I wanted to be able to manipulate it, come to the front, to the side. So right now what we're doing is just customizing our cut. If you keep your tracks close together, I do not care how much you cut on it, you're going to get the desired achieved results that you want, because you won't have any gaps and you can just make it do what it do. All right, this is your finished look. You see that invisible part? Ooh. Now I hit it already with the flat iron. Got a little bit ahead of myself. Now these are the larger flat irons, you guys. So use your smaller ones if you don't know how to do this. And all I'm doing is just going here and dragging a couple of pieces. I really don't want it curled. I'm going to give you guys another video of it actually styled. But today, what you think? Nobody. It is Celeste Noel. I'm the educator's educator and the hairstylist. I hope you loved it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. All right, so this is the finished look, and I hope you guys love every minute of it. Make sure you, again, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Springtime is coming. We are going to be out this summer. So guess what? This is one of those looks that you can always wear. You can put your pop of color in there. You can comb it multiple ways. As you can see, you can curl it. I'm going to give you guys another video, like I said, with styling it only. So stay tuned for that this week. I hope you love it. Again, it is your girl, Celeste Noel. Also, let me know, what city would you like for me to come teach a class at? I'm looking forward to coming. See you soon.